Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Roach Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. We are all eagerly awaiting the college football season. It's only around 2 weeks away to week 0, but there has been some massive basketball news that we have to address. By a lot of recruiting outlets, the #1 prospect in the 2024 class has just committed to a program, and this is earth-shattering news because Flory Bidunga is a talented basketball player. He's 6'10". He weighs over 250 pounds. He is a beast of an athlete. He can even step out and shoot threes a little bit as well, but he's much more of an old school big, much more back to the basket, and can just dominate on the glass and down low in the post. But he was a guy that was widely expected to pick between the Duke Blue Devils or the Cincinnati Bearcats. Flory Bidunga is from Africa, so his recruitment was very tight-lipped, but he was highly considered to go to Cincinnati because the Bearcats do have an assistant coach that Flory Bidunga knows, so a lot of people thought that that connection was going to be enough for Flory Bidunga to go there. He was even considered to go to Indiana because he actually is playing high school basketball in the state of Indiana right now, despite not being from Indiana at all, but a lot of people thought Mike Woods, especially with the recruiting wins he's been piling up lately, had a chance to get him. But then you've got the Duke Blue Devils, and usually when they want a top prospect, they're able to get him. But out of left field, Flory Bidunga committed to the Kansas Jayhawks. Now, this is crazy because Kansas already has Hunter Dickinson this year, and if Hunter Dickinson is not with the Jayhawks next season, then Flory Bidunga can just slide right in and be the starting center for Kansas, and I think he's going to dominate college basketball right off the bat. This is a huge recruiting win for Bill Self, as long as he can keep Flory Bidunga. I will say that, because there has been a lot of players that have been committing to schools and then decommitting. You look at John Bowl that committed to the Florida Gators. He's already decommitted. There's been a lot of other prospects as well in this last class and in these future classes that have committed and then they decommit from programs, so it's not completely confirmed that Flory Bidunga will be a Kansas Jayhawk, but as of now, he has committed to the Jayhawks. This is huge because of the fact, like I said before, Flory Bidunga, whether he ends up being the #1 recruit in the class of 2024 when it's all said and done, a lot of people think that he is right now, and he could very well end up being. And even if he is not the #1 ranked player, he's going to be a top 5 player because he is just a stud basketball player, and I do feel like that his commitment to the Kansas Jayhawks is just going to continue to showcase the fact that the Jayhawks are going to be a serious contender for the next few years in college basketball as long as Bill Self is continuing to coach them, because even though Kansas is in the Big 12 and they're a conference right now that is kind of on some shaky ground, they're not in the Big 10 or the SEC where there's a lot more money flowing into the program, and even Duke and North Carolina in the ACC, which is a conference that's not getting as much money as the other two, it doesn't really get affected as much in basketball because most of the money is being put toward these schools in football anyway. So despite the fact that Kansas is in the Big 12, they're not going to be making as much money as the Big 10 and SEC schools. I think Kansas can still hold their own, at least in basketball, with being able to get players because it does not require as much money to have a top basketball athletics program. And again, Bill Self is a Hall of Fame coach. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get players in. He probably would have landed Mackenzie Mbako in this last class, but he went to Indiana because Kansas was just full. There was way too many guys on that basketball team, especially at the 4 positions, so they weren't able to land him. But again, when Kansas wants a player, they're usually able to get almost anybody they want as well. But to beat out Duke, especially when the Duke Blue Devils were highly thought to have a great shot to land Flory Bidunga, and Cincinnati as well because of those connections, to land Flory Bidunga is a massive win for Bill Self, and I think that Flory Bidunga is going to be able to slide right in, like I said before, and have a lot of success right out of the gate. Flory Bidunga is a player that not even a lot of people knew of a couple years ago because, again, he's coming over from Africa, and a lot of people did not know who he was right out of the gate, but he burst onto the scene around 2 years ago for his ability down low, and then when he started to step out and shoot some threes, despite the fact he does not do it all the time, it just showcased more and more the type player that Flory Bidunga is, and he moved up the recruiting boards quickly. I remember even a year ago he was around a 4-star recruit, but he jumped up to a 5-star recruit and a top 5 player very quickly, and with good reason, because of the fact there's not a lot of holes in his game. He's a fantastic rebounder. He can pass. He does need to work on that, but he's a great player down low. I know that post play is not as important as it used to be in the modern day college basketball and in the NBA, especially because they want more guys that can step out and shoot threes and handle the basketball at the top of the key, kind of like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic. I don't know if Flory Bidunga is ever going to get to that level, but at least at the college level, he's going to dominate all of the bigs in the Big 12 if he does stay committed to the Kansas Jayhawks, and if Hunter Dickinson is going to no longer be with Kansas after the season, which I don't think that he will. I'm not sure if he will have another year of eligibility or not, but I don't think that Flory Bidunga would commit to Kansas if he was going to be sitting behind Hunter Dickinson. Even if Hunter Dickinson was still there, I really do think that Flory Bidunga would still start regardless, because again, you're not getting a guy of his caliber to sit on the bench, and Flory Bidunga knows he is going to be a starter at Kansas right out of the gate. Bill Self probably won't promise him that, but you know good and well that he's telling him he's going to get a lot of playing time, and he's probably going to start. But I do think that Flory Bidunga will dominate college basketball, no matter if his other skills don't really improve too much, because he's going to be able to dominate down low, because he's going to have his way down low with whoever he plays against. Now, will he have success in the NBA? Because a lot of people are questioning that. Some people don't think he's going to be a top 20 draft pick because some of his skill set just does not translate over to the NBA, but I think he will be, especially because he can step out and shoot the three. He's kind of like Adama Sanogo, who just played at UConn, and even though he wasn't drafted, he was a guy that was in college for a couple seasons, which does dramatically drop you down on the draft boards, and I think Adama Sanogo will make it. I feel like Flory Bidunga is even more talented, despite the fact Adama Sanogo is a fantastic player as well. Flory Bidunga will be a high draft pick, and he is a guy that you can just tell is getting better and better. You look at his play, and it's never staying the same. It's not stagnant like a lot of other players that jump up to a top high school recruit, and then they just kind of stagnate. They don't get a lot better. Flory Bidunga is still rapidly improving. He's going to keep getting better, and I think he's going to get better at the skill sets he's not even that great at now. So Flory Bidunga, I wouldn't say he's a generational talent. He's not a Victor Wembanyama. He's not a LeBron James, but he's still a really talented player that wherever he would have committed to college basketball, he was going to be a massive asset for. And the Kansas Jayhawks, they got a good one in Flory Bidunga. It sets off their 2024 recruiting class very highly, and it's probably going to help them get even more recruits in the future in this class, because when you get a guy like Flory Bidunga, other players are going to want to play with him, especially a guard that can maybe facilitate to him. So things are looking up for the Kansas Jayhawks. They look like they're going to continue to be a title contender for years to come as long as Bill Self is coaching the Jayhawks, and it's going to be really interesting to see where these other top 2024 high school basketball recruits will be committing to college basketball programs as the fall and winter start to get here, and that's when more players commit. We'll definitely keep you updated here at Only Talk Sports, but definitely for Flory Bidunga going to the Kansas Jayhawks makes a big splash in the college basketball world as college football is set to turn around the corner, and I think that Flory Bidunga will have a massive season for the Kansas Jayhawks before possibly having a great NBA career if he continues on the trajectory he's currently at. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content, like this video down below, comment down below what you think about Flory Bidunga committing to the Kansas Jayhawks and whether you think he'll have a stud season with the Jayhawks and be able to help propel himself to be a possible top 2025 NBA draft pick. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I will see you next time.